Hello guys, welcome to Rex Arthur TV. This is a Rex Arthur show where we discuss LGBTQ issues with an LGBTQ approach and an LGBTQ perspective and in humanistic approach in an LGBTQ planet where we all belong to the one letter in the LGBTQ plus spectrum, that is the sexual alphabet that has 10 letters, LGBT, double QIAAP, and each of us has one letter we belong to. And I'm very happy that we are doing very well in our marathon of UDHR, Universal Declaration of Human Rights, and we are now left with 4 laps to go, and we're on Article 26, that's lap 26, right to education. Everyone has a right to education. Education shall be free, and at least in the elementary and fundamental stages. Elementary education shall be compulsory, technical and professional education shall be made generally available, and higher education shall be equally accessible to all on the basis of merit. Education shall be directed to the full development of human personality and to the strengthening of respect for human rights and fundamental freedoms. It shall promote understanding, tolerance, and friendship among all nations, racial or religious groups, and shall further the activities of the United Nations for the maintenance of peace. Parents have a prior right to choose the education of the kind of education that shall be given to their children. So it's a very flowery article, but it's one of the hardest to implement. You necessarily there, and I like what it's saying. That's why I've called it flowery. What I'm trying to say is that, you see, the problem with education, or the importance of education, it is helps people to live in peace. Do you know why there was a lot of war in the world? There was no education. People were not educated. Yes, that's what you need to understand. Do you know why the Bible, the Old Testament, there were more genocides in the Old Testament than in the New Testament? People were not educated. People were not educated. As we progress in time, there are less genocides happening in each century because people are now educated. So education is powerful. It is the key. And if you want to destroy any phobia and any form of discrimination and any form of racism, any form of hatred, educate the masses. We won't even talk much here. I have been screaming education, 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 education in every video I do concerning LGBTQ rights and tolerance. And it is always, that's the answer. And the article has said it very well. So the International Covenant on Economic Rights also does the same. Educating people and the Convention of Rights, children, you have to educate your children and recognize the children and view the view of achieving this right progressively and the basis of economic equal opportunity. They shall in particular make primary education compulsory and available free to all, and encourage the development of different forms of secondary education, including general and vocational education, and make them available and accessible to every child. So in this convention of children's rights, children have a right to primary education. It's compulsory. Congratulations to that convention for making children education to be compulsory, especially primary education. And then very soon secondary education. And then very soon higher education will be compulsory. Yes, you wait and see. When you do that, within 60 years, your country you'll be shocked. You'll wonder, am I seeing the real Angolans I thought I knew? No, they are different. And that's what's going to happen. That's why I have faith. I have hope. LGBTQ movement is going to survive and thrive. Yes. Right now, people are fighting because they didn't have the education we have right now. You see, LGBTQ persons have existed. It's just that people didn't have the education that they exist. What they need is education. So Give them 30 years and they will understand. So for now, we'll have to go through a bit of struggles and many challenges and many oppositions and many fightings with people. I fought with my family, but I'm fighting for the LGBTQ child that is going to come after me in the year 2078. Yes. And he will not fight with his parent, because his parent is going to learn that LGBTQ persons exist. Yes, it's going to happen, because the parent in 2078 will be have born in 2048. Yes, so he's 30 years old in 2078. So by 2048, the education system will have taught people about LGBTQ rights. So on 2078, when that parent has a child who is LGBTQ, he will love him, he will not fight with him, and he will not attack him. So it's going to come. But for us, we had to go through those fights because our parents did not have that education. So it's very understandable. And I tell LGBTQ persons, hang in there. You are part of the salvation of LGBTQ children in Africa. You are part of the strengthening of LGBTQ movement in Africa. It's here to stay. Yes, it is here to stay. And don't worry, we are doing well. And we have to go through that. When you're building a very big building, it takes years. The cathedrals in Europe, they took over 20 years of building, but they are built beautifully. So that's the same with the LGBTQ activism. Yes, we have to go on, and we are doing very well despite the challenges. Congratulations to all the activists out there. Do it, and do it well. So education is very important in destroying homophobia and transphobia and any forms of discrimination. Good, so we will not talk much about education. You can see very meaty, beefy articles on the same. And if African Charter on Human and People's Rights shall have the right to education, they shall take part in the cultural life of its community, promote and protection of traditional values. Of course, that's where we have a problem, in the sense that don't only promote traditional values, promote even modern values. There are modern values that are very positive, like freedoms. Yes, diversification, inclusion. It's not a traditional value. In the past, there was seclusion. Seclusion was the traditional value. If you are a leper, you can't appear. You are a woman, you can't do certain jobs. That was seclusion. It was the principle of, it's a traditional value. So we cannot keep such traditional values again. We are now adopting modern values of inclusion. And cultural life of his community. Yes, an LGBTQ individual may freely take part in the cultural life of his community, the LGBTQ community in Africa. We have a culture, but you are free to be part of that cultural life. So we are very happy with the African Charter on Human People's Rights, because LGBTQ is a culture, it has a community. Hallelujah. And of course, repeat of the the basic unit of society. All right, guys, that is education. Thank you so much. Let's get finishing this marathon.